Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Vartika, and in this video we will be covering up the list slices as well as list functions. Now let us talk about what are list slices. List slices simply means the part of the list. In order to extract the part of the list, extracting the part of the list is exactly similar to extracting the part of the string. We provide the list name, and within a square bracket we specify three things: start index, stop index and the step value. The stop index is not included in the result. Now one thing has to be taken into consideration, that all these three things are optional. If we do not specify any, either the start or stop, they are taken to be the boundary values. So if the step value can be either be positive or negative. If the step value is positive, then the start value is assumed to be 0 index and stop value is assumed to be the end of the string. But this happens when start is not provided and stop is not provided. That means if the step value is positive and the start index is not given, then it is assumed to be 0, and if the step value is positive and stop index is not given, then it is assumed to be the end of the list. In the same way, if the step value is negative and the start is missing, then start is taken to be the end of the list. That means -1. And if the step value is negative and the stop is missing, then it is assumed to be the beginning of the list. So let's take some examples. This is a list where I have taken 10 elements and these are the indexes. Now I am extracting the list slice. So first example is print. Within bracket I have written L, and within a square bracket I have simply specified double colon. I have not specified either the start, stop or step value. So since the step value is not specified, so it is assumed to be +1, and accordingly start is assumed to be 0 and stop is taken to be the end of the list. So your resultant is something like this, the entire list. In the second case, I have provided the start value as 1 and I have provided the step value as 5. Now step value, I have provided the end value as 5. Step value I have not specified, so it is taken to be +1. Stop index is not included in the result. So the values extracted are from the first index to the fourth index. That means so your resultant is something like this: 20, 30, 40 and 50. Next example, L, then start index is 1, end index is 8 and the step value is +2. So starting from the first index till the 7th index, every second element is considered. So your resultant is 20, 40, 60 and 80. Next, print L, then I have not specified start value, end value, but I have provided the step value as +3. So start is assumed to be the that is 0th element, and end is assumed to be the end of the list, and your resultant is something like this: the first one, then the third value, then the next third value and so on. So 10, 40, 70 and 100 is the answer. Next one, the example I have taken is, I have not provided the starting index and the ending index, but the step value is taken to be -3. So when the step value is -3, start is assumed to be -1 and end is assumed to be the beginning of the list. So starting from the back side, we have taken this thing: 100, then 70, then 40 and then 10. This is your answer. Next one, start value is not provided, ending value is 5 and step value is 2. So starting from the 0th index to the 4th index, every second value is taken and your resultant is something like this: 10, 30, 50. Next one, start index is not given, ending index is 5 and step value is -2. -2 means, and start value is missing, that means start value is -1, ending value is 5 and every second value from the back side is taken. So the first time, starting from the -1, that will be 100, then second value 80, until you have to go till 6. 5 will not be included, so you have to go till this index, right? Before in fact after this index. So only two values will be extracted, that is 100 and 80. Last one, start and index is again not provided, and I have provided the step value as -1. That means the start is taken to be the -1 and end is taken to be the beginning of the list, and the reverse list is generated. This is how list slicing works. Let us talk about the list functions. The first function is append. This function adds a single element to the list. Now the syntax of the function is list.append, and within parentheses we specify the element. Now this element could be a single value or it could be a sequence. Now when I said L is equal, this is an example, L is equal to 1, 2, 3, this is my list, and I said L.append 50. I am providing a single value to this function. When I display the result, the list, it is something like this, 1, 2, 3, 50. Now 50 is added to the end of the list. Another example is L.append. Now I am providing a sequence to this list. When I provide a sequence to this list and I display the result is something like this, 1, 2, 3, and the sequence, the entire sequence will be added as a single element to the end of the list. Now moving on to the next function. The next function is clear. Now this function, as the name suggests, it is used to remove all the elements of the list and make the list empty. The syntax is list.clear. If suppose this is the list, when I said L.clear and display the result, see the list, all the elements are removed and the list becomes empty. Next function is copy function. This function is used to create a replica of the original list. Normally if we suppose if this is a list, L is equal to AB, and I said in the next line L1 is equal to L. Now what will happen? There will be only one copy of the list in the memory, and both L and L1 will refer to the same location. But when I say P is equal to L.copy, now what will happen? A carbon copy or replica of this list will be created, and that will be assigned to P. That will be referenced by P. So there will be two copies of this list, one referenced by L and another referenced by P. If I display P, it is this one. Next function is count. This function is used to count the number of times a particular value appears in the list. The syntax is list.count, and within parentheses we specify the value that has to be searched. If this is a list and I said x is equal to L.count 1, now I want to find out how many times 1 appears in the list. Since in my case 1 appears 4 times, so when I display x, it will display 4. If suppose I provide the value as 5 over here, and since 5 is not present in this list, it will display 0. The next function is extend function. This function adds one or more elements to the end of the list. The syntax is list.extend, and within bracket we specify the sequence. This function will not accept a single value, but it will accept the argument in the form of a sequence. A sequence could be a list, dictionary, tuple, string, anything, and all the elements of the sequence will be added as as different elements of the list. So the size of the list will change or will increase according to the number of elements provided in the sequence. For example, if I have taken L is equal to 1, 2, 3, this is my list, and I said L.extend, and within bracket I have provided another list containing 2 elements. So now the size of my list will increase by 2. So my resultant list is 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5. The individual elements of the sequence will be taken as individual elements of the list, new list, and the addition will be done at the end of the list. Another example is L.extend. Here I have provided the sequence as a dictionary. Now when we provide the sequence as a dictionary, what happens is the keys of the dictionary are added to the list. So the resultant list is 1, 2, 3, and then A, B. Now these are the keys. So these will be added. The next function is index function. Index function returns the index of the very first occurrence of the specified value. Its syntax is list.index, and within parentheses we specify the value. Now the index of the first occurrence of this value will be provided by this function, and if the value is not present in the list, it will return an error. For example, if my list is this and I have said x is equal to L dot index 80. Now I am looking for 80. So 80, the index of 80 is 2. So the answer will be 2. Next function, insert function. Insert function adds one element at the specified position. Now this function can only increase the size of the list by 1. With this function we also specify the location where we want to insert a particular value. List, its syntax is list.insert. The first argument is the index number and the second argument is the element to be inserted. Now let's suppose if my list is something like this and I said L.insert 2,70. That means 2 is the index number where I want to insert the value 70. So my resultant list is this one, 10, 20, 70 and 30. Next one, L.insert 10, 88. Now 10 is the index number and 88 is the value where it has to be inserted. Since 10 index is not the part of this list, so what will happen? It will add 88 to the end of the list. So the resultant is something like this. Now if you provide, another example is if you provide the insert function with a sequence. Now this sequence will be treated as a single element and will be inserted at this index. So I have written L.insert 1, 5, 6. Now 5, 6 will be treated as one element and will be inserted at index 1. So the resultant is this 10, then second element is 5, 6 and then 20, 30. So nested list is created. The next function, pop function. This function removes one element from the list at the specified index. Its syntax is list.pop and within bracket I specify index. Now if this index is not provided, now then it will accept the index as -1, and when it accepts the index as -1, default value is -1, so it will remove the last element. This function also returns the element that is deleted. So if this is your list and I said L.pop1, that means I want the first the value at the first index to be deleted. So the resultant of x is 2 and the original list will be this one. The next function is remove function. This function deletes the specified element from the list. The syntax of this function is list.remove and within parentheses we specify the element that has to be deleted. Now one thing has to be taken into consideration, that if the element is not present in the list, it will provide the error. If let's take an example, L is equal to A, B, C, D, E and I said L.remove C. So C is the third element, so it will remove this C and the resultant of the list will be something like this, A, B, D and E. Now this is similar to the pop function, but in the pop function we provide the index value and here we provide the value that has to be deleted. Before we move on to any other function, let me first discuss a statement that is called del statement. Now del statement works exactly similar to remove and pop function. That means it also removes one or more elements from the list. Remove function as well as pop function can only remove one element from the list, whereas del has the capacity to remove more than one element from the list, and at the same time it can also remove the entire list. Let's take an example. If this is your list, L is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and I said del, then L, and within a square bracket I have written 3. That is the index number which has to be deleted. So the third index number will be 0, 1, 2, 3. So 4 will be deleted and your resultant list will be 1, 2, 3 and 5. Another example with this, as I said that this statement can also be used to remove more than one values. To remove more than one values from the list, we provide the range with this statement. Del L and within a square bracket I have written 1:3. That means I want to remove the index 1 and 2 because 3 will not be included in the statement. So resultant will be 1, 4, 5 because first index and second index are removed. So resultant is 1, 4 and 5. When you write del with the list name without any index, then it will remove the entire list along with the list variable. So after this, if you print L, it will report an error that this variable does not exist. Next function is reverse function. This function reverses the elements of the list. That means it will read the list from the right hand side. So syntax is list.reverse is that it does not take any argument. If this is your list 1, 2, 3, 4 and I apply L.reverse, the resultant will be 4, 3, 2, 1. Next function, in fact the last function is sort function. This function arranges the elements of the list in a particular order. This could be either ascending order or a descending order. The syntax is list.sort and within bracket we can specify an argument that is reverse is equal to true. When we specify this argument, that sorting order is descending, otherwise the default order is ascending. There is one more argument to this function which specifies the criteria of sorting, but we are not discussing that argument over here. If this is a list L82615, now this is unsorted list and I said L.sort. I am not providing any argument. So when I print the result, it sorts the list in the ascending order. Your resultant is 1, 2, 5, 6, 8. Another example is L.sort and now I provide the argument. So when I display the list is in descending order. With this, we come to the end of this video. In this video, we have thoroughly discussed the list and various operations of it. And in the next video, I'll be covering up the tuple and its various operations as well as function. So don't forget to subscribe this channel. For the time being, bye bye.